Presented in association with Total. This unique event is notable for the very high speeds attained by the competitors as they sweep across the Eastern Free State Plains. Just 9 stages made up 216 kilometers of hard rallying, all within a 30-kilometer radius around the little town of De Wetstorp. 2 of the stages were repeated and a central service area was in operation throughout the day. The vast featureless Free State prairies give rise to the massive ramparts and pinnacles of the Lesotho-Drakensberg mountain range. Etched against the blue pale sky in the far distance, this year covered in snow. A remarkable feature of most of the towns in this part of the Free State is the large number of buildings, public and private, built out of sandstone, hewn from the hills in large quantities down the ages. These towns bore the brunt of hostilities in the mid-19th century when the voortrekkers engaged in numerous battles with the Basotho nation. After 5 rounds of the Sasol SA Rally Championship, the season is something of a BP Volkswagen benefit, with Enzo Keen and Guy Hodgson taking 3 wins and Jannie Habig and Douglas Judd 2. It's been a bad year for the Castrol Toyota team though. Serge Damso is still without a win. In the Production Car Championship, Nicholas Ryan holds a fair advantage as the season builds to a climax, with consistency his ally instead of sheer out-and-out speed. Johnny Gemmell has been Ryan's most consistent challenger so far, with many others snapping at their heels. Enzo Keen holds sway at the top of the log by 19 points from Etienne Lawrence. Closing in fast though is Habig, while Ryan is 4th overall. JP Damso comfortably leads Class A7 from the impressive John Williams, while in Class A6 it's Skalk Burger leading Craig Trott by a single point. Although Michael Houghton leads in A5, Gugu Zulu is fast catching up. Chris de Wit is miles ahead in Class N3 and Costa Komantarakis is leading Class N2. Five teams made their way from Rally HQ in Bloemfontein to the frosty early morning start in De Wetstorp, some 70 kilometers away. As the technicians made last-minute checks to their charges, drivers were getting ready for their own war. The Osram Rally saw the permanent introduction of safety notes, this new system adding a further dimension to the eventual outcome. Stage 1 was 17.7 kilometers of high-speed road, taking in a railway crossing, lots of jumps and ultra-fast roads. A smattering of spectators braved the pre-dawn chill to watch the red-hot action. Drawn first on the road, Hergen Fecken was quickly up to speed. But hadn't yet deciphered the difference between left and right. Stage conditions varied from narrow and bumpy farm roads to barely visible jeep track through the grass, and all this done as fast as the BP Polo can go. Etienne Lawrence and Andre Vermeulen were intent on attacking the roads from the word go and had the S2000 Team Total Toyota Run-X dancing to his tune in a brilliant display of car control. However, Lawrence was going a bit too hard and was already in trouble with the sticking throttle. The championship leaders, Keen and Hodgson, had to temper their natural racer's instinct to score points and win the war, not necessarily the particular battle. Former champions Serge Damso and Robert Paisley had nothing to lose by pushing their S2000 Castrol Toyota Run-X as hard as it would go, but the factory Toyota already had a flat left rear tyre. This cost the pair 64 seconds to the stage winner. other hand, Jannie Habich and his long-serving co-driver Douglas Judd were on another plane. The S2000 BP Volkswagen pair, proudly carrying the champions #1 on the rear window, still had an outside shot at retaining their championship title and were cooking. Although the roads look flat and smooth, there are plenty of hidden obstacles to be taken into account. This was Sali de Toy finding one of those obstacles. And then another. Now we go for an early morning ride inside the Bosel Total Subaru of the Production Car Championship leader Nicholas Ryan and Schalk van Heerden. And it looks pretty quick to us. Fernando Rueda's regular navigator Martin Botha was overseas on business, so Cindy Harding was in the Team Total Mitsubishi hot seat. Cindy didn't appear to be distracting Fernando too much at all, luckily. Visser du Plessis and Dave Lefkowitz had their creepy-crawly Subaru Impreza WRX flying long after a major test session finally ironed out all their handling gremlins. Du Plessis was full of confidence for a good showing. No crawling along for this Scooby. Ryan and van Heerden were also playing a game of averages with one eye on their championship aspirations, so caution was in the strategy as well. The men on the move, though, were the defending production car champions Johnny Gemmel and Gerard Snyman in their Sassel Mitsubishi. Gemmel loves mixing it with the S2000 factory cars and was reveling in the conditions. He grew up in the Australian outback, and this looks pretty similar, just with dry grass added to the scenery. Adrian Koth and then navigator Rikus Fourie rolled heavily and destroyed their Inet Connect Volkswagen Golf on this event last year. Now with Des de Fortier and the Golf, Koth was flying. Not literally, Adrian. Watch again as history nearly repeated itself. Shaken, not stirred, the pair motored on. One of the sensations of the year so far has been young John Williams in his first season in Class A7. The Cape Town-based driver is second in the class championship and was settling into his Gamma Volkswagen Polo for the long haul. The younger Damso, JP and co-driver Kobus Frey have 4 Class A7 wins under their belts, and their sights were firmly set on yet another. Damso has learned his smooth driving style from the master of poetry in motion, his dad, Serge. Nothing was going to hold back the charging Charles Wilkin and Greg Godridge in their factory A7 Castrol Toyota Run X, though. If JP's driving mimics Serge, Charles takes after Etienne Lawrence with their pugnacious driving styles. Wilkin rocketed into the class lead, hoping to turn his season around after a string of lackluster results. He was nearly a second per kilometre quicker than JP in this stage. Not having a ball was the event's first retiree 1 kilometre into the first stage. Tony Ball and Alan Bissett parked their Bulwer Park Golf with a blown gearbox, which explains the narrow escape they had with the gatepost. Kobus Roos Chris and Neil Free were hustling their N3 Sasol Toyota Runx along very nicely, but were destined to retire in this stage too. So we guess Snow hope for Roos winning then. Stage 2, Montrose 1, was a monster at 36 kilometers in length and had to be completed before the teams could seek out refuge in the first service of the day. Etienne Lawrence was spectacular, but in trouble already.
Yeah, throttle jammed. 3 Ks into the first stage, wide open. So we had to revert to Andre changing the gears on the left-hand side and I working the on-off switch on the right-hand side and the steering on the left-hand side. And that was 51 Ks, so not good. It's not over yet. We've got 20 minutes now to try and sort it out. And hopefully it'll come right and then we can maybe make some time or just hold our own.
The champion-elect was still running strongly in his BP Polo. Damso, though, was really tired.
The first stage 2 kilometers down in, we had a punch already, so it wasn't a very good start. So the second stage was, you know, sort of got going again a bit, and just hope we can put things together quickly.
The first man on the road handling the conditions.
It's very quick. There's a few hidden jumps and dips. Obviously we've got them on the notes, but it still kicks you very high in 6th gear, so it's tricky. But I must say the Polo is handling perfectly. Lands like a cat on all 4 wheels every time.
Camp, it was all smiles.
Well, you got to keep your foot down. Every time you take your foot off, it's a second, you know, so that's where the seconds come from. We're not quite sure how the guys are going to start off, and you know, we thought we'll just start off with a bit of a push. So far it's going well. The notes are working pretty well. I think there's just a bit too much detail on the slower sections, so we're taking some of the detail out, but otherwise it's going well. No problem with the car. Car's been very good so far.
And the roads were hard baked in places with signs of dried mud after the recent bad weather. In Class N3, Tony Barbosa and Kobus Janssen were hustling their little Ford Fiesta ST around with verve, but this privately run and developed car still does not have the pace of the Toyota Runx's. Champions Christoph Witt and Patrick Yende were off the leader's speed due to their uncertainty of the route notes. Rodney Versace and Arno Legrancy were also struggling in their Team Total Toyota Runx. Pushing extremely hard was Mohammed Musa and Henry Dearlove in the third Total Runx. Here it looks a little too hard to sustain. But this was the car to watch. Claudio Piazzamuso and Greg Chirica were in scintillating form and beat all comers in the first skirmish. A lot more Osram action. Gemmell was taking no prisoners.